Next week, the first ever Ithaca Fringe Festival will come to town. And with it, the festival will bring, in the words of its sponsors, drama, comedy, dance, puppetry, monologues, mixed media, storytelling, or some combination thereof. And here to talk about the festival and what it takes to get something like this off the ground is George Sapio. George, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me.
To start us off, I was wondering if you could just explain what a Fringe Festival is.
A Fringe Festival is, it's basically where a lot of sometimes unorthodox, alternative, theatrically based acts get their chance to strut their stuff. Most of the theaters that do their thing have an agenda. They have a mission statement, they have visions, and they go along with whatever manages to fill their house. That's the nature of the business. Presenting good theater, staying open. As we know, Ithaca is a mecca for exceptional theater. We've got the two colleges, both of which have world-class theater programs. We've got nationally, internationally known theaters like the Hangar, the Kitchen. We've got all these other theater groups around town. It's great. The one thing we don't have is that unpredictable factor, the grab bag, which is literally what this is. Actually, I should say grab hat because we pulled all the names out of my hat. But yeah, we sent out a call. We got several dozen applicants, and we closed our eyes, reached in, and pulled out 5 winners. So those are the folks that are going to be performing next week.
I mean, I understand that these festivals have a bit of a history behind them. Where did these kind of things get started in the first place?
Well, according to legend, the Edinburgh Festival is the first and the largest, and it is humongous. Okay, it goes on for 6 weeks. There's well over 2,000 acts, I believe, and it perpetrates every nook and cranny of Edinburgh, Scotland. Ours is going to be somewhat smaller than that. Across the U.S., we've probably got several dozen fringe festivals. We've got them in New York, we've got them in Buffalo, we've got them in Syracuse, and it's where you see the stuff that might not get seen anywhere else, because honestly, when you think about it in this country, funding for the arts is at it's at a premium. It doesn't happen all that often. So these are opportunities for folks who practice their art, who create their visions, to get them on the boards, to get them seen by other people, to get to have them, have life breathed into them. So it's the alternative.
Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, how did you go about finding the acts that actually ended up in this year's festival? Could you maybe explain a little bit about what that process was like for us?
Okay, well, this is year number 1, so we had a budget of almost nil. So we went with a lot of social media. We went through Facebook, we went through Twitter. I put out calls on Yahoo groups, Google groups, people that I'm friends with. I've got connections through my own career as a playwright and a director across the country and around the world, and I sent the word out. And people networked, and they basically came in and kicked in by the deadline. We had about 3 dozen entries, and we vetted them to make sure that they were not going to, go against the fire codes or child safety laws or something like that. And we found our group.
I mean, I understand you don't want to give too much away, right, about what people might see here at this particular festival, but could you maybe explain for us what people could expect if they show up next week?
Well, when they show up next week, because I know everybody's going to run out and buy tickets immediately, but I'll tell you what the lineup is. We've got 3 local homegrown groups and 2 groups from out of town. I'll start with them. From Cincinnati, Ohio, a town I absolutely love, we've got a group called Sophia's Ear, and they are bringing in a one-person show called Warriors and Other Victims. And the title is actually way longer than that, but it's not on the card because it was way longer than that. But it promises to be extremely interesting. It's interdisciplinary. This gentleman, Michael Burnham, is going to come in. He's going to be telling stories. He's going to be dancing. He's going to be using projections. He's going to be doing, as he says, some really bad stand-up. But from what I've seen of the script and everything I've heard from, it promises to be an extremely interesting 75 minutes. Coming in from Wilbraham, Massachusetts, we've got Under the Stars, and their play is called Hand Grenades. It's a love story, and no love story is interesting unless it all goes crazily bad, and that's what this one does. Locally in town, we've got a brand new playwright, well, relatively new playwright, A.J. Sage. And his play, No, Heads or Tails Theater, that's still in development. He's still kicking it around. He's still rehearsing, rewriting, doing all the things that a good playwright should be doing. And we're going to be seeing that. David Gaspari, well known around Ithaca for his ridiculously quirky sense of humor. He's probably the funniest mathematician I've ever run across. He's got 4 short plays, and the title of his show is 4 Easy Pieces. They're all offbeat. I've seen the scripts. I've seen a couple of them, and they promise to be really interesting. The last is a dance piece by local Ithaca group Ithaca Buto. And for those of you who don't know what Buto is, look it up, because I've looked it up and I still can't tell you what it is. It's a melange of all sorts of different influences. And their piece is called Homage to Federico Garcia Lorca. And they've recently incorporated another member, Karen Koyanagi DeLuca, who is going to be doing her own special piece. So that's an exceptional treat. Folks, do not miss this one. It's going to be really good.
And I understand that these kind of festivals are meant to be maybe a response to the established theater world in a town. What's the Ithaca theater world's response been to your efforts to put a festival like this on?
Oh, they've been behind us 133%. We've gotten support, well wishes from every major theater company in town. They've been fantastic about this. Ours is not a response. Fringe festivals are an augment. They fill in where most theater can't go for reasons of monetary reasons, for subscriber-based reasons. You have to fill your seats, and you have to keep your theaters open. And to do that is a more than full-time job. And we're not even talking about choosing plays. We're not even talking about directing. We're not even talking about sets and lights and all that sort of thing. Keeping those doors open, keeping those seats filled. That's a hard job, all right? And folks who do that, God bless them. I mean, they have my ultimate respect. This is a once-a-year thing. We're not in competition with anybody. We're augmenting. We're taking the stuff that can't make it into those theaters for various reasons, and we're giving them a shot. Okay, they have 4 performances, and we give them 100% of the door. Every dollar that walks in there and sits down, those artists get. They work hard for what they do, and it takes them thousands of hours to create these things, most of the time for very little or almost no recompense. So it's our way of saying, hey, we appreciate you. Thank you for doing this. Please keep creating. Please keep making us think.
I like what you said about the thousands of hours going into maybe a particular show. I know this is the first iteration of the Ithaca Fringe Festival, and I can only imagine the thousands of hours that you've maybe put into it as well. I wonder if you could describe for us kind of what it's taken to get this off the ground.
This has taken a couple of years of me talking and doing nothing about it, and then actually the last couple of years of actually doing something about it. The thing is logistics. It's funding. And it goes under revision after revision after revision. We have to reach out to people in the community, ask them for help, which we got. All of our venues have been donated. Community School of Music and Art gave us room to put up 3 shows. Darcy Martin Rose of Acting Out New York volunteered her space. Brett Bossard of Cinemapolis responded to us and said, hey, we've got theaters. You want to use them? And we said, fantastic. Other than that, it's getting these folks in from out of town, getting the shows up and running, making sure all the tech is there, they have what they need. Myriad details. I've got a production manager, Peggy Carey, who is beyond exceptional. Thank you, Peggy. I love you. And AJ Sage, who's also one of our playwrights. He's volunteered to lead our volunteer league, and he's doing a bang-up job. So yeah, it's a lot of planning. It's a lot of work. For the past 2 weeks, I've done nothing but all Fringe all the time, and it's a beautiful, wonderful thing.
So, George, what are your hopes for the festival? I know this is the first one, and I kind of assume that this is something you want to continue to happen. But coming out of this next week, what has to happen for you to look back and say, okay, this has been a success?
Well, first of all, I need a week's worth of sleep. And it's going to be a success. I know it's going to be a success. I've got a 10-year plan. This is not just a 1-year, let's see if this thing flies kind of deal. The only way to make this thing work is to look down the road. And I'm looking 10 years down the road, we got 25 acts all throughout Ithaca. I want to get an act on a bus. I want somebody to write a play so we can get TCAT involved. All right? And people just get on the bus, and all of a sudden the play starts. Yeah, we're going to spread out. We're going to incorporate spaces all over the place. We're going to get groups involved. We're going to have a kids' fringe. We're going to have one of my favorite ever things is a 48-hour play marathon. Friday night we give out ideas. We get playwrights. We get actors. They come back in the morning with a script, and the next day or so we work on that script, and then Sunday we put them up. It's amazing. You get some of the most incredible stuff out of that. We've got ideas all over the place. This is going to rock.
If those are your goals for the future, let's think a little bit more about this year's festival.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people find out more about what's going on next week?
IthacaFringe.com. Let me say that again. IthacaFringe.com. And you'll find descriptions of all our shows. You'll find all the information you need, locations, and that sort of thing. Tickets are cheap because we believe that everybody should have access to theater, and we try to keep our costs down.
And when does everything start next week?
We're starting on Thursday the 24th. Each act gets one show per night, and we rotate them so everybody gets a chance to see every single show.
I have been speaking with George Sapio about the first of what he hopes will be many versions of the Ithaca Fringe Festival. And George, what was that website one more time?
IthacaFringe.com.
And again, the Fringe Festival gets started next week. George, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
And thanks very much for the opportunity.